All right, welcome to our Committee of Adjustments meeting, October the 14th, 2025. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available on the town's YouTube channel. At this time, I will introduce the folks that we have here. To my immediate left, CAO Adam Sabansky, our planning technician, Diane Gould Brown, our planner, Jordan Wallace, and Corinne Nada, Manager of Development Services of the County of Lambton. I will introduce our committee, starting at my far right, Councillor Mike Vasey, Committee Member Jennifer Turk, to my left, Deputy Mayor Nettie McEwen, and Committee Member Les Goldhawk, and I am Bruce Moulton, and I am the chair of this meeting. I will remind everyone that's here to please put their cell phones or whatever they have on mute. And also remind our committee, if they have any pecuniary interest, to please report them at the appropriate time. We'll move on with our meeting. I have a motion here by Nettie McEwen, seconded by Mike Vasey, that the minutes of the regular Committee of Adjustments meeting held September the 9th, 2025 be approved as presented. Any questions? All those in favor? That motion is carried. All right, we'll move to our applications. I have a minor variance application A-1525. Take notice that an application is made by Will Doctor on behalf of Dr. Rentals Incorporated with respect to the property known as 514 Main Street, Plan 2, Block U, lots 19 to 26, part lot 27, and concession 2, part lot 16, RP25 R7190, parts 6 and 7, Town of Plympton-Wyoming. The subject property is zoned industrial 1, M1. The following variances from zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a proposed workshop addition. A variance of approximately 5.02 meters, 16.47 feet is requested to permit a front yard setback of 1.98 meters, 6.5 feet. Notwithstanding the required minimum front yard setback of 7 meters, 22.97 feet, as per Table A, Section 19(1)A. This time I will refer to our planner, Jordan, for her.
So the subject lands are located on the south side of Main Street in the town's urban center of Wyoming. As you said, the property is zoned industrial 1 or M1 and is surrounded by industrial uses to the east and to the west, residential lands to the north, and a rail corridor to the south. The applicant is requesting relief from the zoning bylaw to permit a front yard setback of approximately 1.98 meters, whereas the 7 meters is the minimum required front yard setback for the M1 zone. This represents a reduction of approximately 71.1% from the minimum required setback. The existing non-complying workshop on the property already encroaches into this front yard setback and has a setback of approximately 2.29 meters. The proposed addition would extend further into the front yard setback by approximately 0.31 meters beyond the non-complying structure. So while the addition to the existing workshop is intended to continue supporting the industrial use of the property, the proposed reduction fails to maintain the intent of the official plan, which directs industrial development to minimize land use conflicts through the implementation of appropriate development standards. The variance also represents significant deviation from the intent of the zoning bylaw, which establishes these standards through setback requirements to ensure adequate separation and buffering between industrial uses and adjacent sensitive land uses. The zoning bylaw includes provisions for additions to non-compliant structures, stating that nothing in the bylaw can prevent additions, provided that such additions do not further contravene any provisions of the bylaw. Therefore, the existence of a non-compliant structure does not justify the additional encroachment proposed through this variance. Given the size of the property, there is sufficient space to accommodate a compliant addition that would maintain the workshop's intended use and internal functionality without requiring a further encroachment into the required setback. The requested variances would further contravene the zoning bylaw and diminish the intended transition between the industrial activities in residential areas. So for these reasons, staff are in the opinion that the requested variance is not minor in nature, does not maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan or the zoning bylaw, and does not represent appropriate or desirable development for the property. Staff therefore recommend denial of the requested variances.
All right, thank you, Jordan. I don't think our applicant is online or present. Diane, do you know, has he been in contact with planning at all, or is he aware of?
He was in contact and he asked for the time and date and everything, and I haven't heard from him since.
Okay.
There's a gentleman coming in right now.
Okay. We can wait a moment.
Not Mr. Dawson.
No,
That's not.
that's not him. So we'll just move forward. Diane, do we have any other correspondence that we've received for this application? Okay,
Mr. Chair.
I guess I'll move to our committee for questions. I guess the questions will be to our planner. Start with my far right, Councillor Vasey. Any questions on this?
Yeah, the only issue I've got is the 1 foot bump out that he wants to do, that if he stays in line with the building he's got now, he's not encroaching anymore.
Right.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the bylaw specifically states that they cannot further contravene the zoning, which would mean they would need to meet the required minimum setback of 7 meters.
Even if he's in line with the existing building. Because when you go down there and look at the building, it's in line with the neighbor's building or fence that we made him put up last year. Industrial land, I don't see any issues with it. I don't see the need for the foot, is all. I thought if he took that foot out of there, then he could put it on with a lot less restrictions.
Right.
Like I said, he makes good use of the property. It hooks onto the building itself. And moving that part of the building back 5 meters. Still can't do anything because the other building's in the way, so. Not sure I'm happy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
I agree with the planner's report. I can't support it. I live right across the road. So, it's got impacts to the neighborhood there. And well, has Mr. Doctor ever been through a site plan for that property?
Not for this specific one, I'm not aware. Previous one.
Because there is quite a few, offsite impacts that we do have to deal with, not only with property, but yeah, New Life Mills, that's there as well, so. Tests.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Well, I have to agree with the planner's report too. And I really don't have any questions. Because there's nobody here to answer them, so.
Les?
The question that I had was the owner has, if there was any reason why the addition couldn't be built to the south of the current structure, or bump it back to what the minimum setback is. So, but without him here to answer that.
Well, would it be wise to maybe just not totally deny this, but at least give the guy a chance to come in and discuss it, you know, try and comply as much as he can, rather than just outright denial.
Well, I mean, there's, it's up to the committee here.
We could do that if you would be in favor of doing that, you think? Or just. What do you think? Nobody wants to answer me, so it doesn't matter.
Wait,
If we defer it, then it doesn't cost them another couple $100 to come
Well,
back.
yeah. Not just a couple of.
Whatever it is. Never had to, 500.
Certainly up to the committee, that's an option, you know,
I did
it's a-
pass him on the way here. He was heading the other direction on a tractor, so.
No, he's busy, he's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And understandable that it's busy, it's supposed to rain probably the next couple days, so. Up to committee, if you would like to sign that motion and we could pass that, or we can. Sign, I have a motion in front of me that's signed.
Yeah, I know. So we'll need to defeat that and then make another motion.
Defeated, then he gets his, then he would,
It's a-
correct.
And then we change the motion. I'm in favor of changing the motion to give the guy a chance to make changes.
Diane, can we write up a motion for deferral for this? I mean, I can certainly,
There is a-
I can put. Yes, but I still have to.
cross out denied,
Out denied and
right, and
deferred.
deferred, and then confirm that the mover and seconder are
Yeah,
favorable of that.
okay. Mike and Jennifer, are you guys willing to continue to sign on to the deferred?
I suppose. You good with it?
All I changed it was deferred. Okay. I have a motion here, moved by Mike Vasey, seconded by Jennifer Turk, that the report by Jordan Wallace, planner, dated October 1st, 2025, be received. And that minor variance application A-11525, requesting the relief from the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 for the minimum front yard setback in an industrial M1 zone be deferred. All those in favor? Motion is carried. I'm sure we will be talking to this gentleman before our next meeting to see, I mean, once again, if it's deferred and he does not want to come back, then he has that option. So we still have another 4 or 5 minutes before, actually 3 minutes before our next application. Our committee of adjustments meeting. I have a application here, minor variance application A-1025. Take notice that an application is made by T Boma Design Incorporated, agent for Dennis and Chantel Road, with respect to the property known as Plan 533 Lot 6, Town of Plympton, Wyoming, 3209 Egremont Road. The subject property is zone residential 5 R5. The following variances from the zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a proposed secondary or second accessory dwelling. Number one, of a variance of approximately 3.5 meters, 11.48 feet to allow the rear yard setback to be approximately 4.5 meters, 14.76 feet, notwithstanding the maximum permitted rear yard setback of 8 meters, 26.25 feet, and a variance of approximately 1 meter, 3.28 feet to allow the interior side yard setback to be approximately 4 meters, 4.59 feet, notwithstanding the maximum permitted interior yard side yard setback of 2.4 meters, 7.87 feet, maximum setback provisions as per section 3.8 subsection R and table A. 2, a variance of approximately 19.1 square meters, 205.59 square feet, to allow the maximum gross floor area of an accessory dwelling to be approximately 65.1 square meters, 700.73 square feet, notwithstanding the maximum permitted gross floor area of an accessory dwelling of 46 square meters, 495.14 square feet as per section 3.8 subsection 1. And number 3, a variance of approximately 40.6 square meters, 437.01 square feet to allow the total lot coverage of the accessory buildings on the property to be approximately 133.6 square meters, 1,438.05 square feet, notwithstanding the maximum lot coverage of an accessory building of 93 square meters, 1,001.04 square feet as per section 3.3.4 subsection A2. At this time, I'll refer to our planner, Jordan, who is filling in for Maria, who was the planner for this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the application was previously considered by the committee on August 12, 2005. At that meeting, the committee deferred its decision to allow the applicant more time to submit a revised proposal that addressed the concerns related to the size of the proposed detached accessory second dwelling and the total lot coverage of all accessory buildings and structures on the property. The minor variance application has since been revised, and the current proposal requests the following variances from the town zoning bylaw for proposed detached accessory second dwelling intended to accommodate an elderly parent, which includes the reduction of the required rear yard setback from the required 8 meters to 4.5 meters, and the interior side yard setback from the required 2.4 meters to 1.4 meters. It is also including an increase of gross floor area of the detached accessory second dwelling, which the permitted is 46 square meters, and they are requesting 65.1, which represents an increase of approximately 19.1 square meters or 45%, or sorry, 41.5%, and also a total increase in total lot coverage of all accessory buildings and structures from the permitted 93 square meters to the requested 133.6 square meters, which represents an increase of approximately 48.6 square meters or approximately 43.6% more than the maximum permitted. So the subject property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling that includes a 2-car attached garage, a swimming pool, and several detached accessory buildings and structures located in the rear yard. This includes a detached garage with an integrated workshop and attached pool shed, a detached garden shed, woodshed, which is now dismantled, and a pergola. Collectively, the accessory structures occupy approximately 87.7 square meters of the 93 square meters, maximum permitted for accessory structures on residential properties. The applicant's resubmission includes several revisions from the previous proposal, which include a decrease in the size of the ARU to 65.1 square meters, the removal of the existing the applicants have identified that they will remove the pergola, which is number 3 of the accessory buildings, and also the woodshed, which is now dismantled. But they do wish to retain the garden shed, which is number 2, which was recommended in the last staff report. So staff's primary concern with the revised submission remains unchanged. The proposed total lot coverage of all accessory buildings and structures significantly exceeds the maximum permitted under the zoning bylaw. The resubmission seeks a variance that would allow an additional 43.65 lot coverage beyond what the maximum permitted is, despite availability of alternatives that would comply with the zoning regulations or bring the proposal closer to an option that staff has indicated that they would support. So while the R5 zone permits detached accessory second dwellings, the zoning bylaw establishes maximum standards for building size, coverage, and setbacks to ensure orderly and compatible development. The bylaw defines accessory as a use, building, or structure that is subordinate, incidental, and secondary to the main use or building on the lot. The town OP also states that additional dwelling units in detached accessory structures, in detached accessory buildings do not in themselves provide justification for larger accessory building sizes, numbers, or coverage than otherwise allowed on a residential lot. So the applicant's agent has argued that the total lot coverage of the building and structures is well below what's permitted in the R5 zone. However, the entire property lies within a flood and erosion hazard as identified by the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, specifically within the engineered floodplain associated with the Errol Road drain. The property is therefore subject to constraints that limit its development potential. Recent legislative change have expanded permissions for additional residential units. However, these changes do not negate or override the existing zoning bylaw provisions related to total permitted lot coverage for all accessory building structures. These provisions continue to reflect sound planning principles aimed at preserving neighborhood character, managing site functionality, and ensuring that appropriate scale and intensity of development. In summary, the variances requested represent a significant deviation from established official plan policies and zoning bylaw standards and are not in line with the intent of the policies. For these reasons, staff recommends denial of the requested variances.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Dennis or Chantel, I know Travis is on. I'm sure. Do you want him to represent you up there? All right, Travis, I know you're on. Go ahead.
He was supposed to be here today.
Sorry, just trying to unmute.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
My apologies. I'm currently waiting for my other hearing in Sarnia here for minor variance. So, pardon my absence. Yeah, we did essentially pare down this. We removed one of the structures, made the building itself smaller. I've also, I don't want to be long-winded, but essentially I did write an email to most at the town, not realizing how much we didn't divulge to them as far as the challenges we would have with the Conservation Authority, basically with converting the existing attached garage, converting the detached garage, and an addition. If you would like me to go through that, I can, but basically due to their flooding, all 3 of these structures would have to be raised by like 2 to 3 feet, which would kind of make it impossible to do. And it's my understanding that essentially that's not really the issue. It's currently just the detached garage or the shed that's a concern. And the clients would like to keep it. It is kind of nestled in a nice little spot and landscape there. But again, we're here to discuss it with the committee.
All right, thanks, Travis. I will refer to our committee. I don't believe, Diane, that we've received any other correspondence other than what you sent us, the newest 3D pictures.
I haven't received any further correspondence, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I know that we have Brad. Do you wanna say anything, or are you just here to watch?
Yeah, I guess I'll say sure. Just wanted to touch on like the flooding and it being a concert hazard again, but that's already touched on, and They did a pretty good job going over that. But it would affect me probably the most being directly south of where this would be built. So anything built up higher off the ground is directly gonna affect my water. And it definitely floods back there multiple times a year. There's been flooding I seen, looking over the fence, goes right across their pool. Their in-ground pool is right underwater. So I think anything built back there is only gonna make the problem worse. And is it reasonable to build something back there when there's other options like an addition or something? But
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
I guess I'm against the variance on the back as well. The back property,
And that property, your property?
the back of their property is my property, yes.
Great, thank you. I'll refer to our committee. Les, go ahead.
I think in the first one last month, I referred to this as not what I would consider minor variance to come to a committee of adjustments. With all the different things that are shown here. But having said that, I looked at what was proposed or recommended from the last meeting by the planners. Believe it actually is more than fair in regards to what could be done. Even though I don't necessarily agree with only 1.2 meters on the side yard setback, I believe it probably still should be 2.4. But overall, I still don't feel it's a committee of adjustments item, but here, so.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, for variances, I don't consider it a minor variance to build this and have 4 different variances on it. This is a building that can be built according to the regulations. So I just don't see that I can't agree with allowing it.
Jennifer?
Yeah, I get the use and I support the use, but I can't support the size, the variances that are being requested. It doesn't meet the 4 tests as per the planner report, so I can't support the request.
Councillor Vasey?
Thank you. I like the concept. I like everything about it. I understand why you'd want to do it. My biggest issue is the setbacks, and I go back to my firefighting days is I don't know how I would fight a fire in this house being so close to all the other structures, the fences, the pool, and it's gonna be an elderly person in it. Like you can't get around the east, the south, and the other side, the west side pool. So I'm gonna be standing in the pool or on the pool deck with a fire hose is the only place I can access this building. And that's the part that like I say, I like the idea. Great idea. I think it's good that you want to keep your bed there, but I can't get over that part of it. The setbacks and everything are there for a reason, and that's one of the main ones is. And even if it was just a shed, I could, I wouldn't care if it burnt down. I don't care if it burns the neighbor's shed down. But I do that there's a guy living in it. So. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. My comment is similar to the others. Certainly, I think the idea of it, I think is good. I think we certainly don't want to be known as a town that doesn't support the secondary dwellings. I just believe that the variances are not minor. And I think I certainly appreciate what you guys have done to come back with certainly some changes to it. I think it certainly made it a bit more appealing, but it just hasn't, from what I hear from the committee as well, hasn't checked all the boxes. So Travis, I'm not sure if you have any comments.
I guess my comments, I mean, essentially are like, really the planning department in their report and other correspondence that I've had with them, essentially, they're essentially the shed away from us, from us getting a positive report. So I guess I would bring that to everyone's attention. As far as the setbacks go, in the Ontario Building Code, a new dwelling is allowed to be 1.2 meters from the property line, and there's no state of how far away the firefighting services have to be. Plus, we've essentially addressed them in the new, like there's some new things that kind of came out of the ARU meeting in council that we've addressed as far as the firefighting and the addressing and all that stuff is concerned. And as far as the number of variances, the unfortunate part is essentially they're all for the same thing. Like they're for the, I mean, a lot of them are for the lot coverage. So essentially they're the same variance. They're the same thing. We'd have to hit. I don't like it either when I have a multitude of variances, but this seems like it's like we get square footage and we're caught up in 3 different variances for that one same number. So that's where I don't necessarily see that we're asking for that many more variances. So, yeah, I see that we've addressed the fire department has addressed and we stated what they want, and we've addressed it. 911, we've addressed it. Downsizing, we've addressed it as best we can, short of, if committee so desires, my client is so willing to remove the shed, if that's what makes it in compliance, and essentially if that makes it a positive planning report. We are more than willing to concede that. But yeah, I don't see, I believe that the zoning bylaw is unfortunately not caught up, as is the discussion that was had at council a couple weeks ago. And that's why we're asking for so many minor variances, because the bylaw has not caught up. And that's where I think, unfortunately, my client being proactive in this is kind of behind the 8 ball, in the fact that because the zoning bylaw hasn't been updated in so long, hasn't addressed some of the stuff, we're asking for these variances when in actuality, I think provincially, it would probably fly with passing colors. So that's where I guess I would plead with the committee and say, listen, the planning department has said, and we're willing to remove the one shed, but essentially, like, we need these types of structures, and it's unfortunate that we have to apply for so many minor variances, but it's also unfortunate that, and through nobody's fault, that these zoning bylaws are so restrictive that it requires us to do something and apply for so many variances when it's essentially a very minor building, is my opinion. So.
Okay, thanks, Travis. Les?
I guess my question would be then, if, I mean, the recommendations came from planning. And so I heard a mixed message where that I believe that if a lot of this stuff was taken into account, we probably wouldn't be here. Because it was already a recommendation from planning, or it would be here on and rather than being asked to be denied, be accepted if they had followed the proposals or the recommendations. So my thought is that if that was the case, then why wasn't it done rather than wait till now to readdress it, because it looks like it's not going the right way.
Yeah, I understand. So I'll give Jordan the opportunity certainly to respond to Travis's. If I know Maria was the one that did this application, so I don't really want to put you on the spot. But does the shed make a difference?
So through you, the recommendation that Maria had proposed at the last committee meeting, she indicated that she is still willing to support that recommendation. And if the garden shed was to be removed, that we would be in support. Or potentially reduce the size of the ARU to be approximately 55 square meters, so that the lot coverage is of all accessory structures and buildings on the property would be 120. That's what she was recommending.
Okay. So I'll give the opportunity for the applicants to certainly, I mean, if the committee agrees, we can defer this again. I know that that's a pain. But if, cause I know if from what I hear right now, what we have in front of us, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a denial. So,
And that's fair. I think we've shown that we've done our part. We've done a lot of the things that were asked of us. We're not looking for deferral today. It's either gonna be approved or denied. We're not asking for deferral. If it's gonna be denied, then we can move to the next steps. But the bottom line is, I think we've done what we can, including up to moving the shed, not moving, but getting rid of the shed. And if that's not good enough at this point, I don't see what else we possibly can do. As far as any flooding, just so Brad knows, because he's our neighbor. We already have spoken to Monteith and Sutherland. We've talked to people about drainage. And in fact, if this is done, there'll be less water in the yard. Simply because there is no tiling in our yard right now. If this house is built, we'll have no choice but to do tiling, and the water will be a lot less going right to the ditch out front. So we're not looking for a deferral this time, either approval or just straight up denial.
yeah, I'm just giving you the opportunity because, yeah, the application has the shed in there.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you want, that you're willing to do, we would defer it and give you the opportunity to apply or reapply, not reapply, but to show that as the
Oh, I see. So you're saying that it's a consideration if it gets deferred, then that's how we would move? Because I thought that,
Well-
I guess we were under the impression that, and just to answer Mr. Goldhawk's question, because the reason we continued to come regardless, we have spoken to Maria about the shed. We were just I guess, hoping that maybe that the little shed wasn't the break deal, and that maybe the committee might kind of see that it was just a garden shed. That's sort of separating this house to happen. So that's why we were kind of attempting just to see if it would make sense to do that. And that's kind of why we continued to come.
And I can't speak for the committee and I don't answer for them whether or not that it gives the opportunity. Then when that application comes in with no shed, it gives the opportunity for the planner to be able to put that in their report. And maybe if it comes from the planner that it's an accepted application, it might have a difference with what our committee decides.
So I guess it is unfortunate she didn't say that because she verbally expressed that, I guess, is the issue.
Our planner here today said that verbally that they'd be willing to support the application provided that the accessory shed has been removed. This is really not any different situation than last month's meeting where the committee approved, provided that a condition was added. That situation, the setback was increased. So in this situation, it would be very similar to that, whereas the committee could approve, provided they put a condition on that the shed be removed.
So I'll ask my committee. I'll start with the planner, Jordan. If the shed was done, Maria would have accepted the application.
Through you, that is through our discussion, that's what she had expressed. And I think also her, or through our conversation as well, her recommendation in the previous report was what she would be able to support. And that was what she can support. And so I am also in the understanding, and I am in agreement with her that that is an appropriate recommendation and an appropriate move forward, I guess. We want to support the development of housing and intensification of service lots. Yeah, that was the maximum lot coverage that she was willing to support. I'm in agreement as well.
Ready?
How big is that shed?
9.6 square meters.
Give it to me in feet, I'm old.
It's probably about 10 by 8.
Thank you.
Sorry.
103.
Thank you. So it's still, you still need a variance.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
what Jordan was saying, that
Yeah. Marie
herself
would-
and Maria would support the variances if the shed was removed to reduce the gross floor area
So
variance.
she would support all the variances if the shed were removed, but.
Through you.
Yep.
Through you. Our discussions with regarding additional residential units and conversations with building services, we were in support of the requested setbacks that they have requested. The interior side yard setback, they're requesting a 1.4 meter setback and have said that they are willing to put a 1.8 meter board fence up, which is in the bylaw allows for that. And same as the rear yard setback, we through our discussions with, again, building services and about additional residential units in general during our reviews, we're willing to support the 4.5 meter setback to the rear yard. It was the most of the concern with this application was lot coverage of all the accessory structures on the lot.
Committee?
Anything else?
Yeah, Brad, go ahead.
Regarding, I think everybody's got the same paperwork. I got the email today. The very last page that I got. Sorry, the second last page. At the bottom, it says base of the SR or SCRACA's best available in-house mapping and elevation data. Applicant should raise the access laneway to the ADU to the center line road elevation of Agrimont Road in order to have a safe, private and emergency vehicle access. In addition to the culvert. That is about a 5-foot elevation change from that center of that road line to the backyard. That's a significant, if they had to build up to that height on the fence line. They're looking right over the fence. So. This.
Certainly, if anything became accepted, there would be conditions on all that and any sort of anything from the St. Clair Conservation Authority would be in our recommendations as well. So
And another thing though, that they wouldn't be changing the elevation of the lot.
yeah, drainage, of course, is part of any sort of new build. So that would have to be looked at for sure. Go ahead, Ed.
Through the chair, when lots have had to been raised above floodplain levels, to the point that there's a substantial difference. Typically, what you'd like to see is some form of retaining wall with a fence on top of that retaining wall, so they maintain existing privacy levels. Under only rare circumstances has the engineering department allowed a fence to be a combination retaining wall and fence, and because it has to have tiebacks to prevent it from turning over.
That's in my front yard and built out of wood. That doesn't last forever either. Retaining wall.
The condition in here, if approved, there would be a requirement for a certified lot grading plan. Our public works department would review that, make sure that no water flows off site, ensures that all the water maintains on site and then flows to an approved outlet.
Well, committee, I'm still asking here. Yeah, go ahead.
So in Maria's original planner's report that she did back in August, there's 18 conditions in there that she opted for an alternative option. I can support these 18 conditions.
Through you. So the conditions that she included in that recommendation would be also included in the approval
Yes.
conditions. If I read condition number 3 and number 4, she requires a minimum 3 meter rear yard setback. Next section. And they're looking for a 4.5 meter rear yard setback. And then also a minimum 1.2 meter interior side yard setback, provided that the 1.8 meter solid board fence is installed. And they are requesting a 1.4 meter side yard setback. So those, so this as well. And And then same as the demolition or permanent removal of the existing garden shed, the pergola and the woodshed. The gross floor area be reduced to the 65 square meters. I think they're at 65.1, but the rest of the conditions are just, I guess, standard conditions now for accessory second dwellings or additional residential units. They'll all be the same.
That also, yeah, and just for Brad, it addresses drainage.
Yes, there's a grading, the grading plan and also permits from the Conservation Authority as well. So they have to.
Mike, where you at?
Retaining wall, it stops the water from going north. Any water coming from the field, wanting to go to the lake north, there's a wall there. Water's done, their drainage is contained, but it makes it a worse problem overall.
And that's where we get in a challenge with common law. Under common law, water has no right. So any property owner is allowed to, on their own property, berm it so that prevents surface water from entering onto it. If all the water is flowing naturally across there and it does pool, the farmer may have to put an application in through the Drainage Act to divert that water around. If that's where it's been naturally going and it can no longer go that way.
So you can just stop the water if you want.
You as a property owner can block surface water from entering onto your property unless that surface water has an easement or that surface water is allowed to be there through the Drainage Act.
Mike?
I'm still not convinced. I still think it's trying to put a square peg in a round hole. I understand there's been a lot of work done on it and you have done a lot. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right to me.
Eddie and
So still gonna have 3 variances, right?
no, I think you're down to 2 variances. Your lot coverage,
Yeah.
George,
Yeah,
3.
The rear
The
lot si-
Covered.
rear lot line, the side lot line, the square footage, and still 3,
lot coverage as well.
so
Well,
it's still 4.
yeah, 2 of them are one division in the bylaw. Covers both the rear yard and interior side yard, and then there's the overall lot coverage for all accessory structures and buildings on the property and the gross floor area of the detached accessory second dwelling.
That's where you at?
How much over are we with taking that shed down?
About 10, just under 10 square meters. Well, sorry, right, the overall, overall, let me just do that calculation, sorry. That's still about approximately 31 square meters in the barn.
There's none.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move forward here with our original motion, because I'm not convinced by our committee here, so I'm gonna read this motion and I'll give the opportunity for our committee to vote on it. I have a motion here by Nettie McEwen, second by Les Goldhawk, that the report by Maria Casa Rossi, Senior Planner, dated October the 6th, 2025, be received, and that minor variance application A-1025 requesting relief from the town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 to exceed the maximum total lot coverage of all accessory buildings and structures permitted on the property, exceed the maximum gross floor area permitted, an accessory second dwelling within a detached accessory building, and reduce the minimum rear yard and interior yard setbacks required by the detached accessory second dwelling be denied. All those in favor? So that motion is carried. There is a 20-day appeal period where that you have the opportunity to appeal. And if If you want any information on that, I'm sure Travis has that. Well, as our planners. Enough. Thank you. All right, committee, let's move on to our meeting. Business arising, anything on the comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment? Anything, Jordan?
I don't believe there are any updates right now. Maria has primarily been working on it, so I think we're on the second iteration of the review, so it's ongoing.
Okay. Anything from the committee on that? Anything for you on that? Great. So we'll move on to new business, 6.1, Committee of Adjustments, our calendar. So everyone has been sent the calendar. I actually made a copy as well. Any issues, committee? As Diane had said, obviously there is an election in November, October. But this committee continues until January, so that those dates are in here for that. It looks like in November, it's the 24th, so that is and so we have two dates that are not our normal second week or second Tuesday, and that's May because of the conference. And November, for what reason was that? Is that the
I believe they're the same.
November? I thought it was the other conference was in September. Because it's down for November the 24th. The 4th, yeah. That was the only other question that I had on this.
Probably because of an election? Would it be?
Elections and
Timing.
Which usually in November, isn't it?
No, it's October.
No, you're.
So October 26th is the election.
it could be the 10th.
No, I think.
There is, you cannot meet until
Yeah.
after council's inaugural, which I don't have in front of me, but I would think is the 11th. And that is why your date would have been pushed back.
Won't be the 11th being Remembrance Day, but you're right, Adam. It's
We have normally met on the 10th of November, so is that because of the new council?
And
Okay, any questions on the calendar, folks? All right, well, I have a motion by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Nancy McEwen, that the report by Diane Gould Brown to planning technician dated September 24th, 2025 regarding the 2026 Committee of Adjustments calendar be received, and that the Committee of Adjustments approve the 2026 committee meeting dates, and that the approved meeting dates be forwarded onto the town clerk for inclusion into the 2026 council and committee calendar. All those in favor? That motion is carried. All right. Move on to any other new business. I don't have anything else on paper. Anything from planning? Sorry, while you take it, Jordan.
Sorry, through you, no, I don't believe it's our business.
Okay. Building services.
Nothing, thank you.
Anything from you, Diane?
No, I have nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Adam?
no, sir.
All right, Les? Eddie?
Nothing.
Jennifer?
No, I don't.
I have nothing. Mike? I have nothing as well. So I have a motion here by Mike Vasey, seconded by Les Goldhawk, that Committee of Adjustments meeting be adjourned. And the next meeting be scheduled for November the 4th, 2025 at 5:15. Once again, that is the first Tuesday in November rather than the second. Anyway, all those in favor? That motion is carried.